This is not my line. This is her line. Her line. It's Fight Night Bitches.
People don't realize, but Ronnie Coleman, who's an 8-time Mr. Olympia, Flex Wheeler, Milos Sarcev, Kevin Levrone, Chris Cormier. I went to, in 1998, in May, I went to a San Francisco Pro Invitational. And the guy that put this on, for whatever reason, knew that I'd worked with a lot of world-class athletes. And he said, Victor, why don't you come up and tell everybody what it is that you do? I had no idea that he was going to do this. And I was working with Milos Sarcev at the time. And so I got up and I started talking to everybody, and several guys had questions. So I made an offer to all 25 guys that were there competing at this show that I would show up the morning with a nurse, the morning after the competition, and collect blood from all of them and urine from all of them, and then give them a comprehensive evaluation and set of recommendations. And Milos got up and he said, oh, trust me, everybody wants to do this because he can tell you whether or not the anabolic steroids that you're taking are real or not. And they were like, oh, so that next morning, I think like 22 out of the 25 showed up, and I had them fill out a questionnaire, and made them list all of the drugs that they were taking and all the vitamins and other supplements that they were taking. Then when their urine samples came back, I said, well, you know this stuff that you think you're taking? It's not that, it's just testosterone. And you know this drug that you think you're taking? It's Winstrol. These are fake tablets. Oh my God, I'll call my supplier immediately. So I wasn't giving them drugs because they already had all their own drugs, but I was helping them to do testing, to take a look at liver function, kidney function, cholesterol fractions, all these other things that are important for them to know. I recruited some of these guys, including Ronnie Coleman and Flex Wheeler. We did a genetic test to find out if they had, a certain missing link there that in their genetics. And this was all published. But the point is, I did work with some of the top pro bodybuilders in the world for many years. And so I learned a lot about anabolic steroids and growth hormone and insulin and all the rest of it.
Did you take it yourself? Did you stack any of these yourself?
From 1996 until 2003, I did use anabolic steroids and growth hormone and little testosterone, Winstrol, and GH.
Were you jacked? Were you lifting? And
yeah, in 2003, right before the BALCO raid, I could bench press 340. And I was a lot leaner. I weighed 192 at the time. So I did get very strong, and I did experiment with it, and I didn't use real large dosages, but I would call it almost recreational. The way it makes you feel, it's of course there's going to be some side effects. If you don't cycle on and cycle off, of course you can suppress your own endogenous production, and then you get hypogonadism and these other side effects that can happen. So I wasn't a big user, but I did use them. Yes.
Yeah, people have always asked me about steroids. I said, hey man, honestly, I don't mind if people use them. Shoot, I would take HGH. I mean, it will make me look even younger than I am. But when it comes to a sport, to inflict pain upon one another as a one-on-one sport, that's when I have an issue with it.
Well, and that's why, that's part of the reason that I have sponsored so many boxers, because in baseball, it's hitting the ball over the fence. In track and field, it's running faster than the guy in the lane next to you. But in boxing or other combat sport, it's about bodily harm.
Yes.
And this is where knowing how powerful these drugs are, and they really do make you Superman, and you really cannot compete with yourself naturally compared to being on drugs. It is a very unfair and unsafe thing for people to do.